Right boys and girls, here we go. G-Series on the baler finally. The sun is out, let's crack on. So as you can see, we're working with Valtra's brand new fixed chamber round baler, the Fixed Bell 500. If you ain't seen the video for that yet, we do have a separate in-depth walk around piece on that baler if you want to go and have a little learn about that. But for now, we shall carry on with our review of the Valtra G-Series. And while we're here, we'll have a bit of engine and transmission chat. So engine wise, as mentioned, it is the 4.4 litre Agco power motor in this 4-cylinder job. And so far, things are looking quite good. And now we are on the baler, which seems to be a good test of power for it. Like I say, it's a fixed chamber baler. The swaths of, the swaths of grass, they're fairly reasonable. There's some heavy bits here and there, some lumpy stuff here and there. So it has made it's made the engine sing in a few places, which is good. It's always good to try and find the limit. So transmission wise, yeah, getting on pretty good with that. Like I said in the walk round, it is it's a 24 by 24 speed power semi power shift from Gema. 4 ranges, 6 power shifts in each range. Seems plenty smooth enough, but again, that's just one of those elements through the screen. You can adjust that. How aggressive the power shift changes are and the aggression of the shuttle changes, things like that, and all your usual stuff like upper gear limits, stuff like that. As ever with these semi-power shift tractors these days, you can pretty much, well, you can drive it in manual as we are doing here, just because you like that, that immediate control over speed and revs when you're doing PTO work like this. So you can drive it in manual, does what it says on the tin. You can drive it in auto as well. There's one of 2 automatic modes. So there's auto 1, which pretty much you pop it in that and you pretty much leave the tractor to work out the revs and ratios, which seems to work fairly well. And then there's auto 2, where you can go through the screen and fine tune all the change points, so you can just change the point, the point in the rev range at which point the gearbox will either change down or up. So that's a nice bit of fine tuning there. And then a couple of little features we really like. There's one you'll have probably heard of before called brake to neutral. I think Valtra has some sort of marketing name for it. Well, effectively it does just that, and you find it on quite a few semi-power shift transmissions these days, brake to neutral. And when you turn that on, rather than stopping the tractor with your foot clutch and brakes, all you have to do is just press the brakes and it will bring in the clutch for you. And again, you can alter the levels of sort of aggression on that, so you can have a sharp stop or a gradual stop and then a gradual takeoff. And for years I've said it's great for loader work, which it is, but I've also said over the years, and I've never actually tried it until today and yesterday, that, do you know what, it'd be good for round baling. And do you know what? It is. Look, we're about up to pressure. And there we go. Stop. See? On the brakes. Come to a stop. Let the baler do its thing. Here we go. And then once it's tied the bale off and spat it out the back, foot off the brake, and away you go again. Nice little feature. Now, you combine that with the automatic modes, the automatic transmission modes, and you can pretty much drive it like an automatic car. Granted, it's not quite as smooth and refined, but it's a nice little feature to have. And then there's another little feature we like as well. It's basically it's an automatic hill hold feature. So you combine that with the brake to neutral and the automatic mode of the transmission. So you come up to a set of traffic lights on a hill, and it's just a simple case of foot on the brakes. So you come to a stop using the brakes, not the foot clutch, because we're already in brake to neutral. And then so you come to a stop, a standstill, and then it's into neutral with the shuttle, and obviously that'll, well, into the park position on the shuttle, obviously that'll hold it there. But when you're ready to go again, foot back on the brake, put the shuttle lever into its forward position, foot off the brakes, and it will literally just hold itself there until you dab the throttle, and it automatically releases the brakes and the clutch, and away you go. It's actually a nice little feature. Like I say, when you combine all that with the automatic modes and the brake to neutral, it works really well actually. And then there's another couple of little tricks you can do with the transmission. I mean, Valtra say you can pretty much drive it like a CVT, and yeah, in terms of operation, that's fairly true. Obviously, you've still got your steps with the power shift transmission, so you don't get the smoothness of a CVT. But in terms of operation, then yeah, it's a fair statement. Like as I mentioned, you can drive it like an automatic car, just using the foot throttle and the brakes. And then, in terms of when you're working with the tractor as well, in PTO mode, you can set a PTO cruise when you're doing PTO work, which it'll always try and stick to. And then all you have to do, you can either use the foot pedal or the main drive lever, and you can adjust your forward speed accordingly. So you're not exactly sort of changing through the gears, but you're just telling the tractor to go that little bit faster or go that little bit slower. And then likewise with draft work as well, you can just like kind of nudge the lever forwards or backwards, or use the pedal, and you can set a target speed like you would with a CVT. Knock the lever to the right, and it'll try and achieve that target forward speed, and it'll work out the revs and the ratios, what's most appropriate for that job. So yes, overall fairly decent scores for the transmission department. Like I say, with the rest of this tractor, as it's intended to be, it's got big tractor features in a small package.